Hi everybody, it's Molly Smith and I've been inspired by my friend Ed Giroux, hashtag share a recipe, and Sima Sueko, Deputy Artistic Director at Arena Stage, to cook my Italian basil eggs. So here you see all the things that I use. There is homemade tomato sauce, and I've got little tiny tomatoes, and Parmesan, garlic, eggs, red pepper, oregano, basil, and of course if you have some fresh basil, that's the best. And a little bit of this special tomato paste. Because this is one of those dishes that's absolutely delicious if you use as many different kinds of tomatoes that you have in as many different ways as you have. And so I had some little tiny tomatoes that were just starting to go and get wrinkled. And when you think of cooking now, you're using everything in the kitchen. And I thought, ooh, that's a perfect thing to do. So we're gonna begin. Turning on the stove, I'm throwing in a little bit of olive oil, and next some of the chopped garlic that I have. And today I'm just making this for 2 people. This is one of these wonderful dishes that you can make for 10 people if you want. And usually people want 2 eggs, so that would be a great big skillet with 20 eggs in it. It's a delicious meal, and it is one that you can have for a brunch, and it keeps you full all day, or you can have it as a late breakfast. You can even have it as dinner. What I like to do is make a little bit more of the tomato sauce so that I can use it on another morning as well for my Italian basil eggs. So you probably wonder where I came up with this recipe. My partner Suzanne had a little cabin in Alaska in Haines, right outside of Haines, and one day I was in the wonderful bookstore, and this great cookbook that has to do with Italian recipes just kind of fell out at me. And I looked at it and I thought, ooh, this is perfect for the cabin. So I've taken the recipe and changed it over the years. But really it is poached eggs in tomato basil sauce. Delicious. And you can start to hear the garlic frying over here. Garlic is really important. For 2 eggs, I'm using 2 cloves of garlic. Every time I add another 2 eggs, I'm adding more garlic because that's part of the beauty of the dish too. So here we go. And I have started the garlic, and now I'm going into taking these little tiny tomatoes that I have split in half, and a lot of them were starting to get a little bit wrinkly, so they're kind of perfect for this dish. I'm throwing them in. I also thought maybe this is a perfect dish because everybody's starting to feel a little bit of cabin fever, so this is a bit of cabin fever. And Arena's doing a program right now that is little gifts of art from artists. And I thought, as a director, what do I have? And I thought, well, I'm a cook, so I could give a cooking lesson. Okay, so these guys are starting to fry up. And now I'm going to turn it down, because Suzanne tells me I always have the stove on a little too high. I'm going to turn it down. I'm going to keep going with it. Oh yeah. Now I don't know if you can see that, but that's starting to get really pretty. And you want these guys to cook down. I kind of think of it as a little bit of a roux to do the dish with. And yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yum. Okay. So then the next thing, and right before I started this, I washed my hands really, really well. I washed my fingernails, I washed my hands, I did everything. Because this is one of those dishes that you cook with infinite love. And for me that means when I pull out one of our jars of tomatoes that we canned last year, what I do is I squeeze the tomatoes through my hands. because that gets them really good and soupy. And you can do this with jarred tomatoes too. Yum, yum. I'm gonna let this cook down for a few minutes and I'll be back just in a minute. Okay, so you can start to see how really, really delicious this is. Yeah, and you want to add a little bit of Cento tomato taste because that gives it a very, very bright taste. And I also like to use dried basil, which I'll do a whole bunch of. And I love a little bit of heat with it. So I'm going to do some crushed red peppers. You don't need to do too many of those. Maybe 15 little guys. And then oregano. And this is oregano that Suzanne and I got when we were traveling in Egypt, and it's really, really delicious, but any kind of oregano works great. So I do a little bit of that as well, and then of course some salt and pepper. Nice kind of series of peppercorns here. We have some red ones, we have some white ones, and we have some green ones, also from our incredible trip to Egypt. And then you will stir this guy up. Okay, and then I'm going to, if you're lucky like I am, you might have a basil plant. And so I just took some basil out. I'm going to sprinkle that in. Okay, and now your tomato sauce is really, really a beautiful place. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take an egg. Here we go. And crack it right inside there. And another egg and crack it right inside there. Okay, you can see how beautiful that is, yeah? Those two cracked eggs, and they go right in the middle of the tomato sauce. And then you cover it for about maybe 3 minutes. And at the end of the 3 minutes, I'll be back. Okay, this is where it's done. So it's been cooking for about 3 minutes. And you scoop one of these little guys out. Like that. Beautiful. You scoop another one out. You pour some of that, put some of that sauce over it. A little bit more over it as well. Absolutely delicious. And you were wondering, when are we going to get to the Parmesan? And now you take the Parmesan, you sprinkle it over just like that. And then the next thing that you do is you take your spoon, because you're going to want to get a piece of toast, and you break into that. I think you can see that. It's delicious. Absolutely beautiful, perfect poached eggs. And then the egg yolk goes right into that. It's a delicious meal, and enjoy.